Someone asked me, Sarfo, how do you edit your pictures? That gave me a video idea, and that's what this video is about. In this video, I'm going to show you some of my fastest ways to edit some of the pictures. It's not going to be a high-end retouching, but it's going to be a quick way so that if you are just starting out learning how to edit your pictures, at least you can use this approach and you can be able to come out with some pictures that are very nice, and when people see, they are going to be wowed. And stay to the end because I'm going to leave you one of my little presets in the description below. So that you can use it. It's going to be yours, you can have it. I made it for you, and it's for you, and it's for you. And whenever I tell you guys, let's just get straight into the video. Alright, so I have two pictures here. These are Samuel. I work with Samuel all the time, I'm sure you know Samuel. So I'll take two, and then one will need a lot of retouching, the other won't. So I will go as and when it happens. So these are the videos, pictures on my screen. I'll drag them straight into Photoshop here. Photoshop is not opening for me, so I'll just come here like this. I'll say open, go all the way to my desktop as I'm locating my files, and there they are, two pictures. So I open them. So now I shot in RAW, so that's the reason why it has come in camera RAW. If you didn't shoot in RAW and you shot JPEG, it would have come straight into your, it will come straight first before anything else. So I have it here. As you can see, this is a very nice shot. Samuel is very good when it comes to posing and photography. Maybe one of these days you see us working together, bringing you out some nice tips for men photography. So the first thing I do when I get this thing is I take down my highlights. That's number one. Now taking down highlights will bring the details in the very white place, so you can see what happens right now. But I'm not going to take it down too much because the dress is actually white and we need some of them. And if there was a sky, I would have taken the highlights so down so that I can get a lot of the details in the sky. And then I'll just compensate to the exposure a little bit. Later we'll come and check all this thing out. I'll bring my blacks down too as well so that I get more details. As you can see, the only thing I do a lot is looking at before and after. So before was a very flat image, and then I have it now this way. So what do I go next? A little contrast, and I'm done. This is just the beginning like this. And if you look at this picture, this is a very nice shot with Samuel here. It's a dark image, so I'm going to just take the highlight exposure up a little like this. Let me see, and then that's fine. So we have the exposure. I think the exposure is okay, but then I'll take the highlights down too, so it's fine this way. And I'll bring my blacks down a little, take up the contrast, a little exposure again, and yeah. So I hold Control, hold the two, and then I'll not click on done. If you click on done, you wonder what you did. So you click on what? Open. So once it's loading, I'll introduce Vanyado to you. So this is Vanyado, my newest addition, okay? Vanyado. Good. So I have the two images open here. Let me go to the very first one. Now this is a landscape image. The first thing I do mostly is not to crop, but sometimes I crop. The cropping comes here and there, but I'm going to crop. I'm going to crop this image to be 8 by 5. Cropping is very good so that at least you know what you are dealing with straight up from the onset. So I want somewhere around here like this. Perfect. Then the first thing is I'm going to create a copy. You can press Ctrl J for the copy, or you can hold here and drag it all the way to the plus sign here, like drag this to the plus sign like I'm doing here, and then yes, you get the copy. What I do when I'm editing is that I work in layers. So layer on top of each layer, that's what I go when I'm editing my pictures. Some people choose to have everything on one layer. I don't know, but then I think I work in layers so that even if I want to get back, I can just get back to a certain place and continue working from where I have. And besides, I don't touch the original file, so that I always have the original background layer here. So it's not even unlocked as of now. So I go here. The first step I do is I remove all blemishes. So I'll just say spot healing. I'll just say it this way. Now I take my spot healing tool here. If you look at the left side here, there's it. You have the spot healing, the healing brush, the patch tool. The combination of these three will get me exactly what I want in the picture. So I'll start with the spot healing because I want to be very quick. And if you have a mouse like I do here, thank you Winston for the mouse. You can hold Alt and then zoom in and out, with your scroll this one to zoom in like this, like I'm doing here. Or if you don't have a mouse, you can just press Ctrl and plus to zoom in like I'm doing on my keyboard right now. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in quickly. Somebody doesn't have lots of pimples on his face, so kudos to me. So I'll zoom in a little and I'll work around quickly with all those blemishes. If I take this off, you can see the difference right now. how the blemishes just appear and disappear. So we are done with step 1. Now step 2. Step 2 is we're going to smoothen the skin using frequency separation. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create 2 copies of this layer here. So I'll just do Ctrl plus J, Ctrl plus J. Okay, and then I'm going to name the one on top as high frequency, and I'll press enter, and I'll label the one below as what? Low frequency, and I'll press enter. On the low frequency, I'll go all the way to filter at the menu here, filter, and I'll choose blur, and I'll choose Gaussian blur like this. Good. I'm going to blur my picture out. So I'll select where I think there is a lot of skin textures. Yeah, skin textures like this. I think that's fine. And then you're going to blur it until it looks okay. My tip here is that you play along with the radius of the brush so that you get the one that actually works for you. Sometimes if you overdo it, you lose the textures. I don't want to smoothen your skin, and when someone sees the picture, they realize that it's so artificial or so fake. I want you to be able to still see some of the textures, as in the pores in the skin. That's what I'm aiming at. And then maybe that was what makes my editing tutorial, I think, fine. Because when people see my editing, they're like, whoa, Sarfo, how do you smoothen the skin and still have all this textures? I'm like, watch this video. I'm going to use around 1.87. I think that's fine. Yeah. You can see it has, the moment you realize that the textures are becoming blurred out and you're getting an almost smooth skin, then you leave it that way. So I'll click OK, and then that's the next thing. And I'll come up again, select my high frequency, and go all the way to the top here and say image, and I'll choose apply image. Good. When it comes here, there's no what we are looking out for, obviously. The layer here, we're going to target one particular layer. We'll choose the low frequency. Okay. And then for the blending mode, we're going to choose what? Subtract. What did we choose? Subtract. Now these values you are seeing here are already here because I do this all the time. I even have an action for that, so that when I don't have to go through. I just do that, run the action, and then it does all these steps for me. So the scale is going to be 1. The offset is going to be 128. I'll see if there's a way I can leave the action in the description below, so that you can download the action and have it on your Photoshop, so that the moment you are editing your pictures, you can just run that action and then it will take you through the steps quickly for you. All right. If I find a way to do it, you find it in the description. So once again, you target the low frequency. You have the blending mode set to subtract. Opacity is 100. Do not invert this. It should be unchecked. Scale is 1. Offset is 128, and I'll click OK. Yeah. And the next thing is I'm going to change the blend mode from this to linear light, like this. And then the next step, I'll have the low frequency and high frequency in a group. So I can just select the two like this and press Ctrl J, or drag the two into this small folder box here, and I create a group. And I'll call this one skin smoothing. Yeah. Skin smoothing. But I'm not done. Let's look at something. If I uncheck this, did you see something? It looks like the picture is even now sharper than it was. Look at this. This is how it is now. This before and this after. This before and this after. And you can already see how the textures of the skins have been highlighted, and they are looking much better and much sharper. Yeah, that's a very good thing to do. Now you're not done. Let's go back here. Now the next thing, I could just go ahead and start smoothing the skin, but then the thing is that you won't be able to tell which part of the face is a highlight or a mid-tone or a shadow. You're going to mix the three, okay? But you're going to mix them together, but not together. I don't know. It's counterintuitive, right? Let's what I'm going to do. So I come to the select the high frequency here, and then you come to the bottom here again. This half rounded circle, adjustment layers. I'll select black and white. Now when you select black and white, yeah, it will do black and white for you. But then I'm aiming at the skin, and as at now, I cannot see where is mid-tone, where is shadow. I can see, but then it's not very clear. So I'll target the red because the face has lots of reds in them. And I'll start pulling the reds back like this. I'll start pulling it back until I can see, until the point where I realize that, okay, I can see my highlights, my mid-tones, and then my shadow. So I'll put the red back a little. I think this is fine. Yeah. And then that is it. I'm done. Now I'll select the low frequency, as you can see here. I'll select the low frequency, and that's where the smoothing is going to happen. Okay. And then I'll come here and choose my mixer brush. So you can press and hold this brush, or you can click that tiny arrow at the bottom here, like this. So press and hold, and then they give you the option. The last one here, that's the mixer brush tool. Now, if you have it ready, you're ready to mix. But wait, you have to do these settings. Setting number 1, well, you have to make sure the wet is all the way down to 7%, so that it will still do the work, but then it shouldn't be too wet. So 7% is okay. The load should be 75%, mix 90%, flow 100%. C'est là? Vrai. Alright. And then we select this too. We want clean the brush after each stroke. Anytime I use the brush, clean it. It's like you are painting and then you paint red here. After painting red here, you didn't wash the brush and you're going to paint it at another place. We don't want to bring the red into another place. Once wherever we go, we are starting fresh with the painting again. So you click this one here, which says clean the brush after each stroke, and then the color should be, nothing should be here. And then we'll choose a soft brush, so the hardness should be like all the way down. Yeah, and then with that, we get to the face and we start working some magic here. So the trick to getting this done is mixing highlights alone, mixing midtones alone, and mixing shadows alone. What are highlights? Look at this light hitting my face here. Can you see the part that is the very brightest of my face? Yeah, that's the highlight. Can you see the part that is the very darkest of my face? Yeah, that's the shadows. And the part in between the two, yeah, that's the midtones. The same thing should happen here. So when we did the black and white and we took down the reds, you could see clearly that some parts, look at this area like this, is part of the highlight. This area should be like the midtones, and then you can have the shadows down there. So I'll come to this area. You can use the square brackets to increase and decrease the brush when necessary. And so I'll start mixing the highlight like this. I'll mix it, highlights together. Yeah. Then I'll reduce the brush, come to this place. I can see the highlights here. I'll also mix this highlight quickly, like that. I'll increase the brush. I can see a lot of midtones here, so I'll mix the midtones, like that. I'll mix it. Yeah, and please don't stay too long at one place, otherwise that place will become very watery and artificial. So you mix a little and you leave, you go to the next place and you mix, like that. Now, to be honest, when you see me doing it like this, it looks simple, but then I've done this like over and over and over and over again. So it looks like I'm doing it easy, but then it takes a lot of practice for you to get used to even this workflow. So my only guess is that you keep practicing, the word practice. Now if I take down the black and white and I zoom out, I can see it like this. And then if I toggle the eye on the skin smoothing like this, so this before and this after, this before and this after. So you can see we are still smoothing, but then we are smoothing all right, and then you can see that the skin textures are still there. So I just toggle back my black and white on again. I come here, I increase my brush a little, I work my way down. Increase my brush. Now this is a tutorial, so that's probably why it has kept long. But if you are doing it on your own, it should be way shorter. I mean, if I was doing it, it should take me close to 10 minutes or 15, I guess. But I mean, not very long. I'm really explaining some stuff, which if you were doing on your own, it wouldn't have taken that long. So like this, like that, like this, like that. Zoom out, take down the black and white. So this is the picture now. This is how it was before, and this is how it's looking now. You can almost see some transformation happening straight away. I come here and I mix this area too. And I mix it. Okay, then I can go to the neck quickly. These areas I don't really have to pay that much attention, only mix them quickly. Take down the black and white, and yeah, so before, after, before, after, before, after. If this looks like magic to you guys, just hit the thumbs up button to say, ah, that was good work there, and I'm learning something. Yeah. I hope you did it. Alright, if I toggle the eye here, you can see before and after, and then that's a good way. The next step, that's step number 3, is to, okay, this guy's eyes are in glasses, so I don't really have to worry. But then if he wasn't wearing the glasses, I would have whitened the eye. If you want to watch a video how I whiten the eyes of someone, you can look at the top corner here, click on the eye button to the next video, and then learn how to do that too. My next workflow, I'll add that. The next thing is to color grade, because I'm not whitening the eyes of this. Okay, let me whiten it anyway. So hue and saturation, I'm going to zoom in here, click on the master, click on the eye like this and drag it back. Now you see it has selected an area for me, so I'll choose the one where I see the white becoming, the eye becoming white like this, and I stop there. I'll control I to invert the mask, but make sure your mask is selected. If it is here, that control I will not work, but make sure you select here. And then I'll take a normal brush too, not mixer brush like this. I'll take a normal soft round brush like this, and then I'll zoom in more, and then I'll paint some white. I'll paint over the yellow of the eye like that. Paint over it. I mean, this is not necessary because he's wearing glasses, but then I think I should still add it so you see the workflow, the steps that follow each other. So you can see this before and this after. Not much of a difference. So the next step is color grading. So you're going to hold Control Shift and then E. To whatever you see down there, please copy together and paste it on the next layer for me that way. So they've pasted everything on the next layer for me that way. And then I'll go to the top here, filter, camera raw filter like this. Or you can do Alt A, Control Shift and A to get you to the camera raw. So this is where you come and I try to start with my color grading. It looks like Lightroom, almost like Lightroom. And I'll just come to load settings because I already have a preset. I call this one night mode, but I use it for all my pictures anyway. And then I'll just increase the brightness a little. So this is before and this is after. Before, after. I want to make this video short, so I'll end here. But if you want a video where you see me how I made my preset, you can just let me know in the comment section below, and then I'll make a video for you guys. Just like this video, someone requested it, and then yeah, it is. So like that, and I'll take down the highlights a little, and then I'll, not too much, a little exposure, and then, okay. And then yeah, let me group everything here into one group, control group. So this was before we started, and this is where we are. You will always love yourself, and people will love your pictures if you just use this simple short workflow. I made this one very short so that you can follow along, and then later in the future we can look at how to step up the game. We will look at using selective colors and all those things. So guys, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for sticking to the very end of this video. Please drop a thumbs up to support the channel, support me, support you, and support the community. Okay, please, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe because there are more videos coming. I'm still thinking about the kind of videos I should make, but then with your recommendations and then your suggestions, I think I will know where to dive to. So let me know in the comment section any kind of video you like to see. If it means me jumping from the building, I will jump. I will jump. Yeah. And yeah, very much I do, guys. I'm going to catch you in the very next video. Peace.